Hey there, Patty Dominguez with episode 122 of the Positioning to Profit podcast. Thank you, my friend, for being here. Super excited, as always, every week, bringing you the Positioning to Profit tips that you can apply in your business. And in that process, me and you, we get to chat a little bit. We get to discover what's going on. We get to brainstorm some solutions. So whether you are catching me in the car, on your bike, on a walk, maybe in the pool, whatever. I'm here. I got your back. Today we're talking about decluttering. And what I mean is decluttering, creating new space, opening the space so that you can attract more of the good. Because here's the deal. At the beginning of the year, everybody gets really excited. We're setting our targets, blah, blah, blah. And then somewhere around week 2, week 3, things kind of taper off and goes back to normal. Right? The normal that you were in before. And as much as we want to be hopeful about what we're creating, there is a method to the madness. So today's episode is managing those little tidbits of what you can do to create more space, declutter, create more flow, invite more of what you do want in your business, and releasing that which no longer serves us. So I'm excited to talk about this topic because, again, it's been near and dear to my heart. We've been talking about it in our community, and let's face it, the timing couldn't be better. So if you've derailed, no worries. I got your back. That's what we're going to be covering on today's show. And yeah, it'll be chock full of good stuff. And with that, here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of one status, then hang with me because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. All right. Well, thank you again for being here. We are talking decluttering. We are talking simplification. This is something that we've been talking a lot about in Prolific Cafe, Prolific Inner Circle, just really staying the course in a way that it's really purposeful and ramping up in a really different way. The energy is different. And what I mean by that is that when people are on purpose, oh my God, it's so fire. Like they are in it to win it. And so we really deconstruct different aspects of where we are. And don't worry, this is absolutely relevant if you're just starting out or whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur. Maybe you're revamping, repurposing, restructuring, whatever it is. It's always a good time to just take this pulse check to declutter. Right? Where can you declutter to make sure that you are being on purpose and inviting all of the things that you really do want? So just a few tips here that I have to share that have been really helpful to me. And the one thing that we do here at Mighty Real Media Central is take a look at, for example, our email list. Decluttering that email list is a big one. And just cleaning the space, cleaning the list, cleaning who you're inviting into your world. Because I always say, like, your email list is your asset. Your email list is that digital, conference room in which you're inviting all the people that have raised their hands and said, yes, let me hear from you. Let me hear what you got. So take a look at that and segment the list. It's a really good opportunity. Clean up the clutter. The bounced emails, the ones that are not opening up your email list. Like that in and of itself is a huge task. But I tell you, there's so much freedom in cleaning up the list in a way that makes sense and just clears the space to invite more of the amazing people that you are supposed to serve. So it's really awesome. Now, here's another one. Even though you may have started the year with having your goals or targets or the overarching direction of where you want to go, the cool thing for you to do is really make sure that you're focusing on the simplicity of that target, of that goal. So you want to chunk it down into bite-sized pieces, like I always say. So you want to give yourself specific timelines around where you want to be and how do you measure. So go back, take a look at when you want to create, chunk it down so that you can then say, okay, what does that look like? How will we measure if that particular thing is a success or not? Because we say we want to get to there, or we want to write an ebook, or we want to write the course, or we want to launch, but what does it look like? So how can you qualify and quantify what that means? Because in the absence of that specificity, in the absence of creating that clear picture, then you're just kind of shooting in the dark with no real direction at all. So that's a really, really big one. So really decluttering the way that your vision is set up and creating the specifics around it, asking for it. And what's so beautiful about that is when you have that clarity, it's almost like you're writing the order into the universe. If you're listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, she's so woo. But no, really, I am. So stay with me, because I infuse a woo whenever I can, and it just makes sense. It's being intentional about what you want to create. So you want to be as specific as possible. And the way to do it so it's not daunting is your overarching goals and targets and strategies, and all of that is great at a macro level, and then chunk it down by quarter. And then as you chunk it down by quarter, what are those milestones? What are those stepping stones? And how do you deem it being complete? Where is the specificity? Where are you qualifying? If it's been a success, can you quantify so that it makes sense, right? So that the data, if applicable, is telling you the story of where you have come thus far. So really, really important. Gaining supreme clarity on the vision helps with the intentionality of what you want to create. And there's something to be said for that, because I'm telling you, it's huge. Another one. This is a good tip that I got from someone whose course I took. He's a coach, and this is going way back. And so he was all about making business not so serious. And one of the things that he talked about is like, okay, where are you infusing the fun? And yes, that is a way to declutter, because when we are in the midst of creating a course or writing a book or all of the things that you're doing, like you're in the thick of it. So how can you create those reward systems and infuse that as part of the ebb and flow of how you are making up your day? So because of that course that I took, and this is literally going back a good 6 or 7 years, I said, I'm going to do something completely different, completely out of the ordinary that I haven't done before, and making it in a way where it goes outside of my norm. So I joined improv, and that was really rewarding for me, because I looked forward to my improv class every Tuesday, and I really was involved in that as an aspect of having more fun. I laughed more. There was a physicality of it. It got me out of my comfort zone. I got to be in a different space than just doing the day in and day out routine, where we get so in our thing that we don't look outside the four walls in which we work, especially if you're working from home as an entrepreneur, right? We're just so in it. So when you are looking at decluttering the energy around your business, where can you infuse the fun? Is it possible? Do something completely out of the ordinary that you haven't ever done before, and I've talked about this, whether it's roller skating or taking, a yoga class with whatever contraptions or things that is super different, or some kind of hip hop class or roller skating, and whatever. Just think outside the box. And how do you commit to infuse that fun so that it creates a break in the energy and it just changes it up for you? And I found that to be really beneficial. And really, it's these moments where we can tap into the simplicity of laughing again and letting go of the overwhelm, is that emotional clutter when we're feeling overwhelmed that we have to let go of, because it compromises the flow. And so really adding that as Marie Kondo says, sparking joy in those moments goes a long way. So highly, highly recommend. The other side of this entire process that we're also taking a look at is focusing, is looking at the one thing that you want to create, being very on purpose, and instead of wanting to eat that 800-pound elephant, you eat it one bite at a time. And so how do you gain clarity on prioritization on the actions that you want to take? And you want to gamify it wherever possible. You may have heard me talk about Pomodoro. That is something that I have going on all the time, where I infuse these little moments of focused energy for 25 minutes, and then I take a 5-minute break. So I'll do 3 sets of that. And again, what is the one thing that I want to focus on? I have so many things to do at any given moment, but how do I create the big tasks that may seem heavier than usual because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to write that whole email sequence? Well, one bite at a time. 3 Pomodoros. What can I get done in 3 Pomodoros? And how do I then reward myself? How do I gamify that so that it keeps me focused on the task at hand without it having to be heavy? Okay, so that is another tip. And then really the last thing that I want to focus on is a way to declutter is taking a look around at your business, at the line items of expenses. Is there extraneous stuff that you're like, what is this? What are these charges here for? How can you clear the energy around your expenses, around what you're investing in, around where your money is flowing, and being really respectful? This was a really beautiful conversation that I had with a client of mine, and we were discussing how she had such an amazing year last year, and really reflecting on the things that worked and recognizing that having that respect for money and clearing the space and honoring the money in a way that makes a lot of sense, and in terms of being a good steward of how that money was working for her, and being diligent and bringing in the rigor of understanding where the money was going. It was a way that she decluttered the energy around the money that she was spending, right? How the expenses were going. And it was as a result of clearing out those like excess charges and things that you're like, oh, what did I subscribe to? And what am I spending on? And like, what was that tool? And really looking at that with a fine-tooth comb and recognizing, having respect for money, honoring the money, the way that it's coming in. Are you utilizing it in a way that makes sense for you? Is it giving you an ROI? Or is it just this cacophony of confusion where you're like, well, what? Just leave it, blah, blah, blah. That's not being respectful of your money. So that is a really, really big one that you'll be surprised what it can create when you declutter the energy around how your money is coming in, how it's flowing. Because when you have those excess expenses that you don't understand and you're kind of burying your head about it because you're like, ugh, it's such a chore to look at it, understand that you are putting these gaps, these bottlenecks in the flow, right? You're creating these hurdles to the flow, and it's compromising all the good work that you're wanting to do. So the big call to action for this week is like, where can you declutter the energy in your business? Whether it's taking a look at those expenses, whether it's infusing more of that fun, bringing in the energy of fun, whether it's being super specific around what it is you want to create, on and on. Make it a point to take a look at these things, because when you do, it opens up the space for good things to come in to your business and into your life. And well, that is so worth it once you really make that a habit. All right, that's what I have for you this week. Thank you so much for checking out and hanging out with me up until this time. So do not forget, you don't have to go at this alone. Your message matters. Make it a point to keep moving forward. And the best way is to tap into the support, the community, the accountability, and the methods that work. That's what happens over in Prolific Cafe. So you can go at it by yourself, trying to figure things out, or you can shortcut the process and really go in on purpose with other women that are on purpose in order to move your business in the direction that you envision. It is possible. Many have done it, and so can you. Hey there, thanks for checking out this episode of Positioning to Profit. Please leave a review if you have gained a benefit from this episode. I appreciate it greatly, and I will give you a shout out on the show as well. I so appreciate the ratings and reviews. Okay, also for the positioning extravaganza, head over to positioningtoprofit.com. There's lots of goodies over there. It's a treasure chest of freebies as well as beautiful courses that will help you to establish your category of one and move your brand forward. And again, connect with me over on socials or on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on the socials, so I hope to connect with you there, and I look forward to catching up with you real soon.